One drop of chocolate changed everything. What started as a simple spell to sweeten Mr. Cedric's bitter potion turned into a sticky disaster that nearly swallowed an entire kingdom. And the worst part? Nobody saw it coming until it was already too late. Picture this. You're standing in the grand hall of Enchancia Castle, and suddenly the air smells different. Not bad exactly. Sweet. Too sweet. Like someone dumped an entire candy shop into the atmosphere. That's when you notice the floor isn't quite solid anymore. It's glistening, caramelizing, and before anyone can process what's happening, the chocolate arrives. Not a trickle, not a pudge, a wave. Sofia the First faced many enchanted challenges during her time as a princess. Cursed pearls that turned everything to stone. Magical vines that consumed castles. Even gravity itself flipping upside down. But chocolate, that's the one nobody prepared for. Because how do you train for something that looks delicious but moves like a natural disaster? The transformation happened faster than anyone could react. Mr. Cedric had been experimenting again. His specialty, really. Always one potion away from either greatness or catastrophe. This time he was trying to mask the bitterness of a particularly nasty elixir with what he called sweet sand. Just a pinch, he thought. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, apparently. The castle walls started glistening first. Then the shimmer spread. Stone turned glossy. Tapestries became coated. The transformation crept through corridors like living paint, converting everything it touched into confectionery architecture. And it wasn't stopping. Sofia noticed her sword first. She'd been practicing her guard stance when the blade went soft. Floppy, completely useless as a weapon. More like a chocolate-covered pretzel stick than royal steel. When she tried to sheath it, the scabbard had already melted into her belt. Amber experienced something different entirely. Her gown. Her beautiful, carefully selected gown with the imported silk and hand-stitched details. It went sticky. Not wet, exactly. That tacky, pull-at-your-skin kind of sticky that makes you want to peel yourself away from your own clothes. She shrieked loud enough to alert half the castle. James had it worse. He was crossing the courtyard when the ground itself liquefied beneath his boots. 1 second, he was walking on cobblestones. The next, he was sinking into what felt like the world's most dangerous ice rink. Except ice doesn't grab at your ankles. Ice doesn't smell like cocoa. And ice definitely doesn't start rising around you like a flood. Because that's what happened next. The chocolate stopped being a coating and became an entity. It pooled. It gathered. It found the lowest points and filled them, then kept climbing. The castle moat turned into a river of liquid sweetness. Garden paths disappeared under brown waves. And the smell. That overwhelming, suffocating scent of sugar and cocoa that made everyone's heads spin. Clover the rabbit had been digging for worms near the garden when the transformation hit. One moment, solid earth. The next, he was swimming. Actually swimming through chocolate like it was water, except water doesn't stick to your fur and weigh you down. He surfaced, sputtering, looking like a truffle that had grown ears and learned to panic. But here's what nobody understood yet. This wasn't just chocolate appearing, it was chocolate converting. The spell had triggered something deeper, some kind of transmutation magic that didn't create chocolate from nothing. It transformed existing matter into chocolate. The castle wasn't being covered, it was becoming, which meant the structural integrity of everything was compromised. Stone walls that had stood for centuries suddenly had the consistency of fudge. Support beams turned into candy canes. The very foundation of Enchancia Castle was dissolving into dessert. And as the chocolate continued spreading, climbing higher with each passing minute, everyone inside faced a choice. Stay and drown in sweetness, or run. Sofia made the call. Her voice cut through the chaos with surprising authority for someone whose boots were currently melting into caramel. Everyone needed to get higher. The towers, the upper floors, anywhere the chocolate hadn't reached yet. Because looking at the rate of spread, ground level would be completely submerged within minutes. The evacuation began in chaos. Servants slipping on glazed floors, guards trying to maintain order while their armor turned into chocolate shells. The royal family attempting dignity while essentially fleeing from their own castle. It would have been comical if it wasn't so terrifying. Minimus the flying horse proved invaluable. He could still fly, thankfully. Wings don't care if the air smells like cocoa. Sofia grabbed James first, pulling him from the sticky ground before it could swallow him completely. Then Amber, who was too busy complaining about her ruined gown to notice she was about to become a chocolate statue. Mr. Cedric, predictably, was having a complete meltdown. Not the chocolate kind, the emotional kind. This was his fault. His potion. His terrible, horrible, very bad decision to add sweet sand without checking the magical properties first. And now his home was literally melting into confectionery. From the air, the scope of the disaster became clear. It wasn't just the castle. The chocolate had breached the walls. It was flowing into the kingdom proper, through streets, into homes. The entire capital city of Enchancia was being consumed by an unstoppable tide of liquid chocolate that showed no signs of slowing. And somewhere in all that chaos, Sofia realized something crucial. Something that changed everything about how they'd need to fight this. The chocolate was getting thicker. Not like cooling chocolate. That would have made sense. This was getting thicker while staying liquid. Like someone was constantly adding more cocoa powder, more density, more weight to every cubic inch of the stuff. Which meant anyone still trapped in it was experiencing increasing pressure. Sofia watched from Minimus's back as a garden statue slowly tipped over, consumed by the brown mass. The chocolate didn't splash, it absorbed. Everything that touched it became part of it. A unified, growing blob of dessert that defied every law of physics she'd learned from her studies. James was gripping Minimus's mane so tight his knuckles were white. We need a plan, a real one, not just flying around hoping it stops. He was right. But what plan works against chocolate that converts matter? You can't burn it. Fire would just make it smell better while accomplishing nothing. Can't freeze it either. Frozen chocolate is still chocolate, just harder to move through. And magical solutions were clearly off the table, considering magic caused this disaster in the first place. Amber, somehow, was still focused on appearances. My hair is absolutely ruined. Do you know how long it takes to get chocolate out of hair? Amber, people are drowning in dessert. I'm aware, Sofia. I'm simply processing the trauma through familiar complaints. Fair point, actually. Mr. Cedric had gone silent. Dangerously silent. The kind of quiet that meant he was either solving the problem or having a complete psychological break. Sofia genuinely couldn't tell which. His robes were stained brown up to his chest. He'd been waist-deep when Minimus grabbed him. Another 30 seconds and he would have been completely submerged. The river, he finally said. His voice barely audible over the wind. What about it? The Enchancia River flows through the kingdom. If we can redirect the chocolate into it, let the current carry it away from populated areas, we buy time to actually solve this. It wasn't a solution, but it was something. Better than hovering uselessly while watching their home transform into the world's largest chocolate fountain. The problem was execution. The river was downhill from the castle. Chocolate flows with gravity, sure, but it was currently spreading in all directions equally. They needed to create a channel, a path of least resistance that would guide the chocolate toward the river instead of through the market district. Sofia's mind raced. We need to create barriers, walls that funnel it. With what? James asked. Everything it touches becomes chocolate. Not everything. Sofia pointed at Minimus. He's fine. We're fine. Living things resist the conversion longer than structures, which gave her an absolutely terrible idea. We form a living barrier. Everyone who can fly, who can float, who can stay above the chocolate. We position ourselves in a line, create a channel using our bodies as markers, and hope the chocolate flows around us long enough to reach the river. The silence that followed wasn't agreement. It was disbelief. Amber spoke first. That's the worst plan I've ever heard. You have a better one? More silence. They descended toward the castle walls where other flying creatures had gathered. Robin and Mia, Sofia's animal friends who could take wing. Several royal guards on their own flying horses. Even Wormwood, Cedric's raven, looking absolutely miserable, but present nonetheless. Sofia explained the plan. Watched doubt spread across every face. But here's the thing about desperate situations. Terrible plans become acceptable when they're the only plans available. The formation took shape slowly, a diagonal line from the castle's east wall toward the river bend. Each person, each creature, positioned precisely to create a corridor. It looked absurd from above, like someone had arranged toys in a very specific pattern for reasons that made sense only to them. The chocolate reached them faster than expected. It moved like something alive, questing, searching for new territory to claim. When it hit the first marker, a guard on horseback, everyone held their breath. The horse danced nervously. The chocolate swirled around its hooves, testing, probing. Then, miraculously, flowed past. Not through. The living barrier held. The chocolate began following the path. Slowly at first, then with increasing momentum as more of it found the channel. A river of dessert flowing toward the actual river. It was working. For exactly 90 seconds. Then the chocolate learned. That's the only way Sofia could describe it later. The chocolate learned. It started climbing. Not flowing around the barriers, but up them. Up the horse's legs. Up the walls of the castle where guards stood watch. It adapted to the obstacle, found a new solution, and implemented it instantly. Panic rippled through the formation. Guards pulled their horses back. The channel broke. Chocolate flooded through the gaps, spreading once again in all directions. "Hold position," Sofia shouted, but it was useless. Survival instinct beats orders every time. They regrouped in the air, watching their failed attempt dissolve into the expanding chocolate sea below. Cedric was muttering calculations. Something about magical half-lives and transmutation decay rates. None of it sounded helpful. "It's intelligent," Sofia said quietly. "It's chocolate," Amber countered. "Intelligent chocolate." James laughed, a slightly unhinged sound. "We're being outsmarted by dessert. That's where we are as a kingdom right now." But Sofia wasn't joking. The chocolate had demonstrated problem-solving, adaptation. That meant it wasn't just a spell gone wrong. It was a spell that had created something new, something with its own form of awareness, which changed everything about how they'd need to fight it. The chocolate was still thickening, still spreading, and now they knew it could think. Sofia's mind raced through possibilities, discarding each one faster than the chocolate spread. Fire spells would just make it liquid and faster. Ice magic might slow it, but they'd tried that. Wind would scatter it into droplets that would reform elsewhere. Thinking creatures require different strategies than mindless forces. "We need to understand what it wants," she said. Cedric looked at her like she'd suggested they reason with the weather. "It's enchanted confectionery. It doesn't want anything except to exist and expand, but it chose to climb instead of retreat. It solved a problem we gave it. That's not random expansion. That's goal-oriented behavior." Amber wiped chocolate from her sleeve with visible disgust. "Wonderful. So we're dealing with ambitious dessert. Very helpful, Sofia." James circled lower on his horse, studying the chocolate's movement patterns. "She might be onto something. Look at the edges. They're not spreading evenly anymore. The chocolate is thicker in some directions, thinner in others." He was right. The chocolate had started prioritizing, sending more of itself toward the gardens, less toward the stone courtyards, more toward the kitchens, less toward the armory. "It's seeking something specific," Sofia whispered. The realization hit her with the force of a physical blow. "The sugar cellar. It's trying to reach the castle's food stores." Cedric's expression shifted from skepticism to alarm in half a heartbeat. "If it reaches concentrated sweets, if it absorbs that much additional sugar content, the transmutation will become exponentially more powerful. We're not talking about the castle anymore. We're talking about the entire kingdom." The chocolate surged forward as if hearing them, as if understanding that its goal had been discovered. A wave of it crashed against the kitchen's outer wall, probing for entrances, testing for weaknesses. Sofia made a decision, not a good decision probably, but the only decision available. "Get me to the sugar cellar, right now." "That's where it's going," Amber pointed out, somewhat unnecessarily. "Exactly. We can't stop it from getting there, so we control what happens when it arrives." They descended in a controlled dive, landing on a section of roof still clear of chocolate. The sounds from below were wrong. Chocolate shouldn't gurgle, shouldn't whisper against stone like something breathing. The entrance to the sugar cellar sat at ground level, which was now 3 feet deep in chocolate. They'd have to go through it. "This is insane," Cedric muttered, but he was already preparing the spell. A bubble of protection magic, just large enough for Sofia. It shimmered around her like a soap bubble made of starlight. She dropped into the chocolate. The world went brown and wrong. Muffled. The chocolate pressed against the magical barrier from all sides, testing it, seeking entry. Through the distorted view, she could see the cellar door ahead. Just 20 feet. Might as well have been 20 miles. Movement through chocolate requires different physics than movement through water. It's thicker, more resistant. Every step felt like wading through quicksand while the quicksand actively tried to absorb you. 15 feet. The bubble flickered. Cedric's magic wasn't infinite. 10 feet. Something brushed against her barrier that felt almost like curiosity. The chocolate was examining her, trying to understand this foreign object in its space. 5 feet. Her hand touched the door handle. The bubble collapsed. Chocolate flooded in, coating her instantly, pulling her down into its mass. Sweet, cloying, suffocating. She couldn't breathe, couldn't see. The world reduced to sensation, thick, heavy, drowning in dessert. Her hand, still on the door handle, turned it. The door swung inward. She fell through, gasping, coughing up chocolate that tasted nothing like the treat it resembled. More hands grabbed her, pulled her clear, slammed the door shut behind her. "That was phenomenally stupid," Cedric said, which coming from him was practically a compliment. They were in the cellar's antechamber. Behind the next door lay the main storage. Sacks of sugar, barrels of honey. Enough concentrated sweetness to turn the chocolate from a castle problem into a continental crisis. Sofia wiped chocolate from her eyes. "We poison it." "What?" Everything has a weakness. For living things that consume sugar, there's always something that disrupts the process. Salt, bitterness. We overwhelm it with something it can't process. James was already moving toward the herb storage. The kitchen keeps medicinal ingredients down here, bitter compounds for remedies. They worked frantically. Wormwood extract, gentian root, quinine powder, every bitter substance in the castle's inventory, dumped into the sugar stores, mixed into the honey barrels, creating something that looked sweet but tasted like punishment. The door began to crack. Chocolate seeped through the edges, pooling on the floor. They were out of time. "Open the inner doors," Sofia commanded. "Let it come." Cedric stared at her. "You want to feed it?" "I want to make it sick." The chocolate burst through with the force of a flood. It rushed toward the sugar stores like something starving, something that had finally reached its goal. They retreated to the upper levels, watching through a grate in the floor. The chocolate hit the poison supplies and consumed them eagerly. Sugar, honey, all of it laced with bitter compounds strong enough to make a normal person retch. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the chocolate began to curdle. It wasn't dramatic, no explosion, no sudden reversal. Just a slow, progressive separation. The chocolate breaking down, losing cohesion, becoming less like a living entity and more like what it actually was. A failed spell creating a temporary substance. "It's working," Amber breathed. But Sofia watched the patterns, watched how the chocolate was adapting even now. Parts of it were rejecting the poisoned material, isolating it, expelling it, learning again. They'd bought time, maybe an hour, maybe less. The chocolate writhed in the cellar like something wounded, not dying, just hurt. And hurt things either retreated or got angry. This one was getting angry. Sofia felt it through the floor, vibrations that shouldn't exist. The chocolate was moving with purpose now, abandoning the poison supplies, flowing back toward the main castle with what felt disturbingly like intention. "It's learning faster than we're adapting," Cedric muttered. They emerged from the cellar into chaos. The chocolate had changed strategy. Instead of creeping expansion, it was surging. Waves of it crashed through corridors, retreating when confronted, attacking from different angles, testing defenses, probing for weakness. James stood at a junction, sword useless in his hands. "It's everywhere at once," because it was one thing. One massive organism spread throughout the castle. They'd been thinking about it wrong. You can't fight something everywhere when everywhere is the same enemy. Sofia's mind raced through possibilities, discarding each one. Fire melts it but spreads it. Ice temporarily slows but doesn't stop. More poison, it would just adapt again. They needed something fundamental, something that addressed what chocolate actually was, a spell gone wrong. Cedric, can you reverse your own magic? He looked at her like she'd suggested juggling lightning. Theoretically, but the spell has mutated beyond my original incantation. It's not my magic anymore. It's become its own thing. But it started with your spell. There has to be a thread connecting it back to the source. The chocolate was rising, floor by floor. They retreated upward toward the tower. Standard defensive protocol, take the high ground. Except high ground meant nothing when your enemy could flow like water and climb like ivy. Amber was pale but focused. If we can't stop it, can we contain it? Where? James demanded. It's already consumed half the castle. But Sofia was thinking about containers, about boundaries, about the one place in the castle specifically designed to hold magical energy. The observatory dome. Cedric's eyes widened. The crystalline structure, it's designed to focus and channel magical forces. And it's glass, transparent. The chocolate needs darkness to maintain cohesion. I've been watching it. In direct sunlight, it becomes unstable. They ran. Behind them, the chocolate surged upward with renewed intensity, as if it somehow understood their plan. The stairs to the observatory spiraled endlessly. Sofia's legs burned. Her lungs ached. Chocolate lapped at their heels like a rising tide. The observatory door appeared ahead. They burst through, slammed it shut, braced it with everything available. Furniture, books, celestial equipment, all of it piled against wood that was already beginning to crack. The dome above them was magnificent. Glass panels arranged in geometric perfection, focusing moonlight into concentrated beams. During the day, it would channel pure sunlight. We need to survive until dawn, Sofia said. Cedric checked the sky. 3 hours. The door exploded inward. Chocolate poured through like something unleashed. But here, in the observatory, the space was different. Open, exposed. The chocolate spread across the floor but moved with less confidence. Moonlight touched it, and where it did, the chocolate became translucent. Weaker. It doesn't like light at all, Amber observed. They positioned themselves in the center of the room where moonbeams intersected. The chocolate circled them, probing, testing, but not attacking. Waiting. For what? The answer came as clouds rolled across the moon. Darkness fell. The chocolate surged. They fought with whatever came to hand. Cedric threw spell after spell, each one buying seconds. James swung his sword, the blade passing through chocolate but disrupting its mass. Amber wielded a broken telescope like a club. Sofia dodged, directed, coordinated. But they were losing, slowly, inevitably. The chocolate was patient now. It didn't need to overwhelm them, just wait for exhaustion, for mistakes. For the moment their defense faltered, Sofia's back hit the central pedestal, the great telescope mount. Brass and crystal designed to track celestial movements. Her hand touched the focusing mechanism, and something clicked in her mind. Not about fighting the chocolate, about understanding it. It's not alive, she said suddenly. It's not thinking. It's just following the spell's core instruction. Which is, Cedric panted, growth, expansion, become more. That's what your spell told it to do. The chocolate contracted, preparing for a final surge. They had seconds. So we give it a new instruction, Sofia continued. We don't reverse the spell. We complete it. She grabbed Cedric's wand before he could protest, pointed it at the chocolate mass surrounding them. And instead of attacking, she channeled everything she'd learned about magic into one concept: fulfillment. You've grown enough, she told the chocolate. You've expanded completely. You've become everything you were meant to be. The spell is finished. You can rest now. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the chocolate shuddered. Not attacking, not retreating, just stopping. The frantic motion, the constant expansion, all of it ceased. The chocolate settled like something that had been running forever and finally received permission to stop. It began to solidify, not into living mass, but into simple, inert chocolate. The spell unwinding not through force, but through completion. Dawn light touched the dome's eastern panels. Sunlight flooded in, warm and golden. The chocolate gleamed under it, beautiful and harmless and utterly still. Sofia lowered the wand. Her hands were shaking. "You convinced it the spell was complete," Cedric said quietly. "Brilliant, absolutely brilliant." The castle was a mess, chocolate coating every surface, weeks of cleanup ahead. But it was over. James started laughing. Exhausted, relieved laughter that spread to Amber, then Cedric, then Sofia herself. They'd fought a living dessert and won by telling it bedtime stories. The chocolate remained, solid and gleaming in the morning light. A monument to the day magic tasted too sweet and learned when enough was finally enough. Looking back, the chocolate tsunami taught Enchancia something nobody expected. Sometimes the most dangerous magic isn't the kind that destroys. It's the kind that grows without limits, that doesn't know when to stop becoming more. Mr. Cedric never used sweet sand again. He actually labeled the container with warnings that read like horror stories. Sofia kept a small piece of the solidified chocolate, a reminder that intelligence isn't always about thinking. Sometimes it's about knowing when something has reached completion. The cleanup took 3 weeks. Guards scraped chocolate from battlements. Servants mopped it from corridors. Amber discovered that chocolate really, truly doesn't come out of imported silk easily. She was right about that. But here's what stuck with Sofia more than the disaster itself. The chocolate had been following instructions perfectly, growing, expanding, becoming more, exactly as the spell commanded. It wasn't evil or malicious, just obedient to a fault, literal to the point of catastrophe, which made her wonder about all magic. About instructions given without thought to their conclusion, about growth without purpose or limit. The chocolate had needed permission to stop, someone to tell it that enough was enough. The kingdom rebuilt. Stronger, actually. Funny how surviving something impossible together does that. And whenever someone mentioned dessert at dinner, there was always that moment. That brief pause where everyone remembered when chocolate became a flood and nearly swallowed them whole. The observatory dome still catches sunlight the same way, still focuses it into concentrated beams that make the whole tower glow. But now Sofia understands why light matters, why transparency defeats things that thrive in darkness, why sometimes the best weapon isn't force but simple, direct truth. The chocolate taught them all something about limits, about completion, about knowing when magic has accomplished its purpose and needs to rest. Not every spell requires reversal. Some just need someone brave enough to say the work is done.